Good morning, good people. You know what time it is. This is your boy, the historian. We got a little something for you this morning. Bumper to bumper is on the way. Let's get to it. Birdcage. Good morning, good people. Today is Wednesday. You know how it is. It's hump day. It's almost close to the weekend. We're right in the middle of this week, staring at the weekend, just like we want our Falcon defenders to stare down some of these offensive players that we will come against this year. And we're looking for some stops. So, getting to it this morning, man. Wow. All I can say is we got a lot getting ready to happen and unfold. I'm not going to unpack everything today, but what's going to happen is I will be unpacking some things tomorrow with the Magnificent Birdcage crew. But getting to it, just a few things we're going to talk about this morning. Man, let's get to it. In NFL news, Henry Ruggs III is a guy that's getting out of prison, trying to get to the NFL. And what's going on, Big Mike? And trying to get his life back on track. Made a horrible decision, drinking, and then, unfortunately taking the life of a woman and her pet down in Las Vegas. He's done some time. He's trying to get his life right, wants to play again. Now, the question is this: do you spin the narrative and do you look at a guy like that? Or do you go ahead and just let this guy go elsewhere? Because we know one coach that doesn't mind giving guys second chances, and that's Andy Reid. Andy Reid did the same thing for our Falcons legend Michael Vick once he got out of the penitentiary. If you look at it, there's an opportunity that Kansas City could give this kid a chance to play football for him and possibly be an impact player. Now, the other thing is this. Now, I've heard some Falcon content creators that have come out and said it. What if they brought the guy here to Atlanta? Let's be honest. Arthur Blank isn't going to bring a guy here that's had a questionable past. Arthur Blank does not like players that have gotten in trouble and does not trust the process of constructive rehabilitation for a guy that might have gotten in trouble. Now, at this point, you might as well let that go. He's going to probably end up either in Philadelphia or he'll end up in Kansas City, ladies and gentlemen. That's pretty much what that's going to be. I'm not going to get too heavy into it, but it's not heavily Falcons related. But I've heard some content creators throwing his name in the ring. And if you look at it, Henry Ruggs III was definitely a first round talent coming out of Alabama at the time, and was one of the best when it came to getting separation and getting open. He was very tough to guard. A lot of us SEC fans know about him, know about the kid's talent, the kid's work ethic. He definitely was someone who probably could impact anybody's team. But when you have that long of a layoff when it comes to not playing football, you still got rust. No matter how much you train, you have to knock the rust off. And most guys are not the same. Let's be honest. Michael Vick was not the same player once he got back to the game. It took him a couple of years to get back, and he was decent, but he wasn't a third of what he was before he went into the penitentiary. So the question is, are we going to be able to see the same type of results from a Henry Ruggs III? Time will tell. Now, getting to these Falcons, we've got some things to unpack. One of the guys that was making noise in OTAs was his fellow Alabamian teammate or whatnot. Let's talk about him or whatnot. DeMarco Hellams. Hellams is coming back off the injury. He's trying to work his way back into the rotation, but he's got competition with Xavier Watts and Billy Bowman. So when you sit back and you think about this, there's somebody that's going to get unloaded unless he's going to be a special teams player and make his name like he was doing before he started getting snaps in the rotation. And the question is this: when we look at what we've brought to the table when it comes to players that we found in mid rounds to late rounds, you've got two first round talents that's right above this cat. Two. The question is, Are you going to keep this kid around? Because at this point, you really have to question what's going on with this team. You really got to question, are they going to stick with this process? Because if one of your safeties goes down with injury, you have to have somebody who knows this defense to step in. Look, knock on wood, I'm not jinxing it, but let's be honest. We've had the good fortune and the good blessings of Jesse Bates to be healthy. He's been an amazing player since we've got him here in Atlanta. Now, God forbid he goes down or Xavier Watts goes down. Who's going to play in that role? That third string role or fourth string role is very critical on this defense. It's very critical because the safeties are interchangeable. The type of safeties we have, they can play either strong or free. So when you look at them being interchangeable, you're looking at the fact that you've got an experienced player in DeMarco Hellams. You've got an experienced player in Hellams. Hellams is a guy that I would trust in the secondary if he stays healthy. Now, when it comes to coverage, I think he was starting to get the hang of it, and I think Jerry Gray had him on the right trajectory before he was injured, and you saw it coming around. So he's a guy that I would definitely still keep here in Atlanta, and I definitely would love to continue to see him grow and develop, even though we have those other guys that we just drafted. And then you still got to pay Jesse Bates. But my thing is depth is the main thing that Atlanta needs to continue to keep because injuries happen and things happen. You've got to have guys that are ready to play and produce right at the point of attack when they're thrown into the fire. That's what we need. So I'm okay with DeMarco Hellams still being around here. I'm not good with getting rid of him because of what he brings to the table. Now, if he can have a clean bill of health, that's perfect. Now, if he gets hurt again, then you have to start exploring your options with passing him off. I hate to say it that way, but your best ability is availability. That's the one thing that you can never have enough of is availability. And in OTAs, he was definitely showing his work, and he was definitely letting those guys know that, hey, I'm not going anywhere. This is what we're going to do. This is what's going to be. So I'm okay with Hellams being in that situation to where he can produce and put some things out there. And speaking for another Alabama team, I'll say this. Let's be honest. We look at the running back room. The thing that you have to look at when it comes to the running back room is this. You have one of the best rooms in the league with Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson, period. All I can say is this, man. When you look at that third string running back spot, that's critically one of the most important spots on the team. A lot of people are like, oh, well, they're a third stringer. Understand this, if your first stringer or your second stringer goes down, guess what? He's next in line. So you have to have somebody that's going to be very productive. And not only productive, you got to have somebody that's going to be consistently ready to go and carry the ball, pass, block, and catch the ball out of the backfield. Now, they just let Jace McClellan go. Jace really didn't play too much. He didn't really get a chance to do some things. But I will say this. When you look at what else is going on, you just got a guy out of the undrafted ranks from Michigan State. We'll probably name him a little bit later. And then you have the kid from the UFL that they just grabbed. That third string spot pretty much is up for grabs right now at this point. It's going to be some great competition. Now, with you bringing the kid from the UFL in, Mr. Corbin, who just got here, I'll say this. Corbin actually played in the NFL, played for the Giants. He has an opportunity to get back on the NFL roster and produce. He led the UFL in yards this year. Now, as you can see, Terry does not mind shaking the tree to get talent no matter where it comes from. No matter where it comes from. So when you look at the depth of this here, I believe that the depth of this team is going to be one of the most biggest concerns that we have. Because yeah, we got a lot of great undrafted free agents, but the question is, who are we gonna keep around? Because the thing is, it's not good to keep around guys that can't play football and can't contribute expeditiously. Not good at all. Now, the one thing, what's going on, Akeem? The one thing I'll say when I look at the Falcons at this point, they've stockpiled on certain positions with talent. Period. And I like it. I like it a lot. Now, the one thing that you have to look at is the Atlanta Falcons didn't even make the top 10 offensively when it comes to PFF. Go back and look at that. PFF has us rated in the top 25, but we're not even in the top 10. So that's something that's going to have to be, that's something that's actually going to have to be addressed this season with Michael Penix Jr. in this offense. There's a lot of things that are going to come from this, and there are a lot of things that actually have to happen and fall in place for this team to be considered not just a threat, but also really being able to win the division title in the NFC South. Health has to be critical. Depth has to be critical because a 17-game season is nothing but 17 weeks of car wrecks, miniature car wrecks. Just put yourself in the car, put yourself in a position where you're in a car wreck every day, and you got to get up, and you still got to go to work, and you still got to perform, and you're sore as hell. That's the best way to describe this 17-week season that's going to be coming up. And when you look at it, we have enough talent on this team to not only win the division, but also to become a division champ and secure a playoff spot. All I can say is at this point is let's see how Raheem and company with the coaching staff, how are they going to get this? How are they going to get this roster up and going? How can they get these guys to gel together? Because it's one thing to bring in talent, but the thing that you have to do is to make sure that these guys can all play together. Because you got a lot of new faces in the building. Can they play together? Can they work together? Can they be selfless together? Because it's more about the team coming together. This is the part that's hard. Now you got talent in the building. Can people put their egos aside? Can people learn to work together? That is going to be heavy. That's all I can say. That is going to be heavy in that sense. So I'm looking forward to seeing how everything's going to mesh together. Now, the other thing I want to bring up today, outside of that, is you look at Kirk Cousins. We're going to talk about this tomorrow in depth tomorrow, but you look at Kirk Cousins. He literally, everybody's speaking praises about him solidifying his position um, as a backup, and he's supporting Penix. Here's my thing. You got to support the guy. You're the damn backup. If something happens to him, you're going to be the next man up. Nobody's getting ready to pick up your contract. Nobody's going to take a chance on you, especially after all the BS that you've done. Come on, Kurt. Like I said, you've heard it enough, and you've had enough people to put foot in your ass about what's going on. And now you're actually going to support the kid. And we know it's not for being all goodwill. We know that you want to get up out of here. We know this. A lot of us want you up out of here, honestly. But because of the fact that we wasted that type of money on you, it's all we can do now is just sit back, and we have the most expensive backup quarterback in the NFL, and we need everything from you. You don't have to be friends with the kid, but the one thing that you do need to do, be a teammate. Be a teammate. You might not like your situation. You might not like what's going on. I don't care that you show up and now you're going to publicly state that, oh yeah, I'm going to be behind the kid. And You should have been behind him from the beginning. I get this. I get this is your job. This is your livelihood. But the money that you were paid for being an old quarterback and being in the situation you're in, you knew that Penix was going to be coming for the job. It just happened to happen a little bit faster than what all experts and all Falcon fans expected this year. So at this point, I need you to just go ahead, be here for the kid, do what you need to do. But I don't know. I think Kirk is in a unique spot because, again, the second string guy doesn't have all the pressure. However, with all the antics that you've had, you're gonna have pressure on you. Every camera is gonna be looking at you on the sideline to see if you're gonna help Michael Penix Jr. get to that next level. Because Penix is definitely a talent, and he's definitely a guy that is going to get some things squared away or whatever. And we can honestly see the fact that, how can I put it? Penix is going to be one of those guys that is going to not just take this team by the horn. He's also going to take this team to the next level. Granted, we got to get our offensive line to protect him and put him in a position to be at the next level to win a championship, to pass for X amount of yards, and to lead this team. But Kirk, you got to give him some. I mean, here's the thing: you don't have to give him anything. The only thing you need to give him is just to show up. You don't have to talk to the man every day. Y'all don't have to go bowling. Y'all don't have to go drinking together. Y'all don't have to party together. You know, the one thing y'all got in common is both of y'all like Waffle House. So, you know what I'm saying? Hey, if y'all don't have any issues or anything, maybe you might have a quick breakfast with him or a brunch at Waffle House. Y'all sit down, y'all talk about some things. If not, like, you know, hey, just show up, collect your paycheck, and chill on the sideline. That's my whole thing. Just don't bring any more distractions to this team. You brought enough last year, and we lost a draft pick last year because behind that distraction too. So, you know, Terry cooked this year in the draft, but could you imagine what we would have done with another fifth round pick? What other player we could have probably snagged in this draft? Just saying, we'll never know. So, getting to it, I'll give you this. The other thing that I'm very impressed with, and I'm hearing good news about, is Doug Williams III, his son. Doug Williams, the legendary Washington Redskin, Tampa Bay Buck quarterback, who pretty much got Tampa to the NFC Championship game when they were going through their horrible years at the beginning of their franchise, and then wins the Super Bowl with the Washington Redskins, becoming the first black quarterback to be a Super Bowl champion. Now, looking at it, we got TJ Williams in the room. We got Doug Williams Jr. in the room. And the thing is, I wanted to speak on this. Now, Smitty, A1, and Daniel Flick, I mentioned this to them, and they actually talked about it. The thing that this kid brings to the room is the kid was groomed by great stock. Period. You go back and look at his days and yes, I hate Grambling State to a T. I despise Grambling State like I despise the University of Florida. So I'm letting you know that off the top. But he was a hell of a quarterback at Grambling State. And you look at the fact that his dad was his coach. His dad is passing on the knowledge of not only playing for Joe Gibbs. You're talking about his dad was passing on knowledge from the legendary Eddie Robinson, who definitely gets forgotten about in the game of football and his contributions to a lot of NFL teams with a lot of his players. So when you look at it, we got a piece of Eddie Robinson that's still around this game right now because it's directly coming from a guy whose father was a direct descendant of coming through Grambling. And then when you look at it, this kid literally has been in the NFL. Sean Payton was one of his coaches. So understanding the passing game is not the problem. A lot of people sit back and they look at it and like, oh man, understand this. When you talk about Doug Williams III in that quarterback room, he understands offenses. He understands how to dissect the defense. He understands how to relate to a lot of the quarterbacks in the room. The only one that's older than him is Kirk Cousins. Other than that, this guy is definitely a hell of a quarterback coach. He brings a lot of intensity to the room, brings a lot of intelligence to the room, and definitely brings a bit of a swagger that you don't see when it comes to quarterback coaches. And again, as I said before, he's got something in his back pocket that most guys don't, that have to work up in the ranks. He had access to a lot of great teachings. And now we have a legit quarterback coach in this room. Not offensive coordinator, a quarterback coach. So when you look at it, if you don't know much about him, Go back and pull up some of his highlights when he was at Grambling State. Go back and watch the fact that the kid just wasn't handed the job. The kid worked his ass off. And now he's in the league and he's definitely one of the brightest minds. It could possibly become an offensive coordinator one day. If Zach Robinson leaves, we already know that you got your offensive assistant that's going to end up being there. You have so many different intricacies because let's be honest, he's eventually going to become a passing game coordinator. And at this point, I feel as if this is a guy that needs to be kept here and groomed for this passing game. And if Zach Robinson does leave, and if we have anything else that happens here in Atlanta, you have a guy that you can lean on in this offensive room. That's where I'm at with it. I know some guys are gonna be like, man, well, you don't know much about him. Zach Robinson is a first time OC. Why not take a chance on Doug Williams III? Why not give him a shot when Zach Robinson leaves? That's just me. I know, and then you still got TJ Yates in the building. The question is, do you trust TJ Yates? We got to see how the quarterbacks perform. But, and unfortunately, TJ had an unfair situation because they made him a wide receiver coach, which had nothing to do with his specialty. So I'm looking at it like this. I think the Falcons' offensive room is in a good position if we do lose Zach Robinson. And eventually we are going to lose Zach Robinson to becoming a head coach, especially if we experience any type of success. You have to have his predecessor ready and groomed and ready to go. I think Doug Williams III would actually be a great candidate for the offensive coordinator position. He's a young guy. He can relate to these guys, and he definitely can speak to these guys because he played. And then he also was groomed in a system that really catered towards what we do anyway in Atlanta when you talk about a wide open passing style because of Sean Payton. So that's just my thoughts on that. Um, Lastly, I'll say this. I think the Falcons are in a prime position to really do something amazing this year. A lot of people are saying same old Falcons. We hear the same thing every year. It's different this year. And the reason I say it's different is not just the feel of it being different, it's really a difference when you really look at what the Falcons are going to bring to the table offensively and defensively. And then the other thing that no one wants to talk about is special teams, folks. You got the Falcons in a situation where they're going to bring a lot of things with special teams coming up this year. Special teams is one of the third parts of the game, and it's a huge part of the game that has cost us games before. I don't need to go back to the Dallas Cowboys game that we lost with Dan Quinn on a field goal situation. I'm sorry, on the onside kick situation that screwed us over. But when you sit back and you look at it, there are many, many games won and lost on special teams. Think about it. You got to set up your field goal kicker. You have to put guys in position to make plays. It's so many intricacies to that third part of the game that the casual fan doesn't pay attention to. For us, we have a lot going for us because now you have not only Kadero Hodge, who's a special teams ace. You have Kobe Bryant, who's going to be working through that rotation. You got DeMarco Hellams. You have so many guys that are going to be able to create plays, create turnovers. Think about it. A lot of the guys that we have on this team that are not starting, they gotta stay on the team some kind of way. You got to become a special teams ace. And that is how you get yourself in a position to make some things happen. So to me, I feel like special teams is going to be one of the biggest parts of this football team that is going to carry us to a lot of wins outside of Michael Penix Jr.'s arm, Bijan's legs, Tyler's aggressiveness, and also our defense. I see us making a lot of moves. I see us doing a lot of things differently. But all I'll say is this: we need to put ourselves in a position to literally not just be a good team, but to be a team that's going to out hit everybody, that's going to outlast everybody, and they're going to be physical all the way around. We can't bring anything soft this year. The softness had to go. So this is a year that Atlanta has an opportunity to change the narrative. You had the NFL on your side by giving you 5 primetime games. Everybody in the country gets to see what you can work with and see what you're going to do. Just bring that physicality to the table. Also bring intelligence to the table, a high football IQ. Limit your mistakes, limit penalties. This is how you become a championship team. Put yourself in the mind frame, ladies and gentlemen, of not looking down on this team, but keeping it honest about this team. I'm going to be honest about my assessments. Some things you're going to like, some things you're not going to like. Hey, again, that's called an opinion. And at this point, everybody has one. However, if you have an opinion, make sure you have facts to go along with it. Because the sad part about it is you have people that will watch other things and try to regurgitate exactly what others say, and they don't put their opinions on it. Or they'll just pop up when it's convenient for them when they're out of topics or out of things because they're too lazy to do the research on themselves and put some things out there. So just put his thing. If you're going to be in this business, whether you're a fan, whether you're a content creator, just use the God-given sense that you have, because again, God gives everybody an opportunity to use this brain up here. Use that, be able to decipher it. Because again, there are so many outlets and there's so many resources that you can use to help you have a better understanding of this team and not just be just a fan. This is the fun part about the game. Learn your team, understand your team, because we got a lot of stuff we're going to bring to the table this year. The question is everybody going to be able to accept and understand what's being done? So I'm getting ready to get to this money today, this monion, as I like to say. Y'all be safe, y'all be blessed, y'all keep God first. And again, life is too short. There's a lot of people that's been dying left and right, a lot of people that have had some things. Just remember this, folks. Every day you wake up, you got a chance and a choice. You have a chance to do something positive. You have a choice to do something great. Continue to be great. Continue to be positive. Let the negative walk out of the door and let your haters keep watching as you grow. I'm your boy, the historian. I catch you tomorrow night with the magnificent Birdcage crew at 8 p.m. But also tonight, I'm doing a slow burn with A1 when we finish. Well, we're actually not going to finish the list, but we're getting back to the list of the greatest Falcons to ever don uniforms. So have a great day, y'all. Much love. Ghosts.